My young love said to me, my mother won't mind, and my father won't spite you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, and she moved through the fair, and fondly I watched her go here and go there, and she went her way homeward with one star away, as the swan in the evening moved over the lake.
Out of my way.
You're always so angry.
Caledonia, get back here.
We're live! Oops! We're live! It's a bit jittery tonight, isn't it? I've noticed that things are jittering all over the place. That's not good. Let me try to sort that out a little bit by closing a few things down. I don't know what's causing it, other than the bandwidth here is absolutely terrible. So I don't know what to do. It says that I'm not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Right, so I don't know what to do about that other than move house. But if it is getting jittery and it's too much, people can't handle it, go and watch another live stream. It's absolutely all right. And if everybody, I mean, I've got 35 people in this, 40 people in the stream at the moment. If I see that going, hear what I did there? Then I'll realise it's too jittery and I'll close things down. Hopefully it will settle itself down a little bit. I can actually hear. I can hear something whirring away. There's a fan spinning. So there's definitely something going on. Right, okay. Aye, it's not 4K this live stream, it's 1080p, but there, Aussie, let me see, I'm having trouble doing everything right. Aussie has said that he's set his to, set it to 720 and it's fine now. That might help, but I think, Aussie, I think the problem's at my end, because I'm getting a lot of jitters here too. It seems to have settled down a wee bit now, but I'm getting a bit of jitters, so it might be my problem. There's not much I can do about it. I mean, I'm streaming at 1080 already. I could drop it down to 720, but it wouldn't make much difference. I think it's the internet. Anyway, so there we go. Right, before we get started, I created a wee poll about an hour ago, something like that. I've never done that before, and so I don't know if I can even see it. I can kind of see it here. I'm worried that if I click on it, it will disappear, but I'll click on it and see what it says. I don't know if anyone, if you viewers that are watching this can see what the results are so far on the poll, what the percentages are on the two options that I gave. I could only give two options. I wanted to put a third, which would have been other or something else, but I could only put the two options. And I don't know if everyone can see the results. Can you? I don't know. Aye, the Ranger could be stealing my bandwidth, Mark, I know. And I never get a chance to have a quick wee chat with you, Mark, before we started tonight. because I was having to lie down because I've been feeling terrible since my dinner. Don't know what's wrong, but I'm feeling as bad as the bandwidth is working. Maybe we're in syncopathy. Is that even a word? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Anyway, yes, we can see the results, says Aussie again. Okay, and Paul has said that it's 63% for the Mini 2. Is that right? I once again, my eyes are terrible. I've increased the size of this. I'll increase it again. It's sitting at 150% at the moment, and I still can't see it. I'll bring it up. Right, 63%. I'll tap it and see what happens. Right, 63% of you use the of those of you who have responded to the poll, use the DJI Mini 2 as your main. 62%, now it's just changed, and 38% of you who have responded to this poll say that you use the DJI Mini 3 Pro as your main, and it's fluctuating as we go, and I think now that I've mentioned it, more people are starting to click in with the poll, and I wanted to know that because I'm going to, tonight's topic, I don't have any agenda because I've been feeling crap all day, right? And I was that close to cancelling the stream because I felt really, really terrible. And then my wife said, go on, look, it's only an hour. You can go and talk for an hour, for goodness sake. I said, okay, I'll go and do it. And I've been thinking about something for the past few weeks, and I'm sorry to 36% of you, but what I've been thinking about for the past few weeks is how annoyed I am with Caledonia. I'm really annoyed with her. It's no your fault, right? It's DJI's fault. And how always amazed I am with this wee thing. This is, as you know, this is Lassie, my DJI Mini 2. And I'm always proud of her and love her, and she's fantastic. And more so every day. Whenever I take Caledonia out to fly, I always come back in a little bit disappointed. Whenever I take Lassie out to fly, I always come back disappointed that I haven't been out for even longer with her because she's such great fun. So I wanted to do a wee discussion tonight about the differences between the Mini 2 and the Mini 3 that, in my opinion, that make me believe that the Mini 2 is just the better drone all round. There are one or two things where the Mini 3 is possibly better, but as an all round, if you take everything into consideration, for me the Mini 2 is the better drone. So I'm quite glad to see that 65% of you probably agree with me because 65% of you use the Mini 2 as your main drone, and only 35% of you use the Mini 3. Maybe that's because 35% of you haven't bought the Mini 3 yet. But if you're thinking about buying the Mini 3, tonight's discussion may help you to decide whether you want it or not. Right, so I'll click that off. And I'm going to be taking things at a slightly slower pace tonight, I think, because I'm not feeling too well. And I've had 2 blood test results back for the doctors, and they say my glucose is very high. But I'm not surprised because I'm tanning about 10 of these a week, right? No wonder my glucose is high. It's full of glucose. So maybe I need to slow down with those, and my glucose levels will go back to normal, possibly. But anyway, as I'm not feeling too well, I'm going to take it a bit slow tonight, and I don't have an agenda. I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that I'm annoyed with the DJI Mini 3. But, however, and the other thing I wanted to do was get rid of this poll. I'll not get rid of it yet, but make it a wee bit weird so I can see the screen. Yeah, another thing I wanted to do was respond more to some comments, because I haven't been doing that. I'm going to respond in particular to anyone who has tagged at Windswept Robert and then has made a comment or asked a question, because it's easy for me to see, because as I've said before, if you do that, it highlights your comment in orange and it stands out in the screen. So it means that those are the ones that I can see, and that those are the ones that are important questions or important comments, like this one from Paul, who's already said 63% for Mini 2. And because Paul put at Windswept Robert and then 63%, you can see it there. that at Windswept Robert section is highlighted in orange for me on my screen, and it's dead easy to see. Whereas Tura67 didn't do that, and I almost missed that comment. 2/3 to 1/3. Okay, right. So I will be having a look at right, Jim, cheeky bugger, Jim. Pay your internet bill. I live out in the sticks. That's the problem, and the fastest, the very best internet connection I can get as an upload is about 10 megabytes per second. 10, right? And if it's being shared with other people in the village, then it drops down. And it's the upload speed that's important when I'm streaming, and so it's very, very low. The download speed is the maximum I can hope to get is about 36, right? Not 360, 36. So it's really, really low way out here in the sticks. And I've tried every internet service provider, ISP, that there is. And I just can't get any better than that. So, unfortunately, there may be a bit of stuttering. But we've got 62 people in now, so maybe it's no stuttering as bad as it was. Right, anyway, I'll get to the good, the bad, and the ugly about these soon. On this thing here, I think you can see I've got a wee thing to say about that as well, which if you watched, if you read the comments that I occasionally make in the section of the community section, community tab of the channel, I did say something about the DroneMask too, and I'll be talking about that in a wee minute, well, in a wee while as well. But let me have a look at your comments now. Oh, there's Mark saying it's better now, it was your intro. Aye, it was happening during the intro, Mark. I don't think it was the intro itself, because it's normally just it's streaming at the same rate as I am now. But maybe for some reason it was just, I don't know what the stats are saying now, and I'm not going to bother looking. But as long as it's a wee bit better now, that's okay. Anyway, Peter says it's buffering. That's the Max Headroom show. Right, okay. So there's Logan says if you lower the quality of the video to 480p HDL, I don't know if you mean that to me, Logan, or if you're meaning to people watching. I don't think it's going to help, because I don't think the issue is anyone watching. You watch it, if you're watching it, watch it at 1080p and you'll get it in the best quality that's available. I think the buffering is from my end. So it's not going to make any difference where you set your resolution, okay? As far as I'm aware, I'm no technical, but there you go. Oh, Caroline had something to say there. Change the stream to 720. Aye, Caroline, I could, but it would be a lot of fanning about to do that, and I don't want to do it mid stream. I may stream next week in 720, and that way we can get a comparison. I like my comparisons, don't I? Get my comparison to see what a 720 stream versus a 1080 stream would look like. But I don't want to start doing that right in the middle of the stream, because I'm not experienced enough in this whole streaming carry on to do that, and I'd probably press a button that just stopped the stream altogether. And I don't want that. Right, Gaz says you're running 420. Aye, stick it up to 1080. It's my end, no your end. Gerard McGlinchey says no problems here. I don't think there's any problems now at all, Gerard. I think that's it kind of sorted. Computer fans kicking in because the PC's struggling to go. I don't use PCs, it's Macs. It's a MacBook I've got, and a Mac Mini and things like that, and it's all iPhone, so Apple systems. Normally the fans, you don't hear them, but for some reason tonight, I don't know if you can hear it. Listen to this. There is a wee fan running somewhere, and that is unusual. Although my wife did put the heating on a couple of days ago because it's getting cold here, and the house is sweltering. So, maybe I'll tell her to put it back off again, and that'll help things out. Anyway, I'm wittering a load of nonsense here, aren't I? Right, what is that? Biff. I can't even see that. Biffkin UK has a Mavic Air 2. Biffkin. When I was creating that wee poll, it's the first time I've tried to create a poll in a live stream, and I intended a third option, which would have been other, but it only gave me the two options. It didn't allow me to create a third one, so I knew there'd be people saying I don't fly either of those rubbish little drones. Cover your ears, girls. Rubbish little drones. Neither of these are rubbish. They're both very good. One just annoys me a bit more than the other, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Right, okay. William Jenkins says we can see them. I don't know what you can see, but well done. Mark says it's been a crap week. It has been a crap week. It's been a crap week for me. And yesterday was a kind of good day. But once I was out filming, and I was filming for a video, well, I think it's an interesting video that I'm going to be putting on later on in the week. But it wasn't until I get back home that I discovered another problem. And it was a problem, and this, I'll just start talking about the problems now, actually. It was a problem that happened. Am I still live? Because the real go live button hasn't even been pressed. I presume I am. I must be. Right, what was I saying? Aye, the problem was with this Mini 3. Right, so let me talk about, before I get on to the comparisons between these two, right, let me just talk about an issue that I've been having recently with the Mini 3. And if any of you Mini 3 owners or main flyers, the 36% or 35% of you who've responded to the poll have experienced this as well, let me know in the chat here. Past couple of times I've been out with the Mini 3, and you'll know this if you watch the video where I was testing or comparing the anamorphic lens with the wide angle lens with the normal lens. And during the flight, I did 3 flights, right? 1 flight with each lens. And then when I was editing it, I was cutting between each of the lenses back and forth so that you could, see as it flew along, you could see the difference. And it wasn't until I get into the editing suite that I noticed that the flight that I did with the wide angle lens was completely out of focus. How many of you noticed that? Hands up. 1,018 of you noticed that. Well, I've only got 61 people in. Right, I bet you a lot of you noticed that and thought, what's going on there? Is that the lens that's causing that? No, it wasn't the lens that was causing that at all. It was a problem with this Mini 3, right? And particularly the focusing of the camera. Now, I know it was an issue that DJI were supposed to have resolved in, I think it was the previous, not the most recent firmware update, but maybe the previous one. And I think a few creators, drone YouTube creators, have made videos about it. I think Nobby Green did one. I'm not sure. I think Gavin HR might have done one. I haven't been watching many YouTube creators recently because I've just not been feeling too well, and so I don't know. But I think those two guys made a video saying there's been an update to fix the focusing problem. Well, it hasn't fixed it. I can tell you, because I made that video, right, and only the flight with the wide angle lens was out of focus, but I did notice it on the screen. I didn't have my glasses on, right, but I put my glasses on halfway through the flight and I thought, that looks out of focus to me. And it was on the return journey of the wide angle, which was the first flight I did, I think, the wide angle flight, that I realised it was out of focus. And the way you fix it is all you do is tap the screen, tappity tap, like that. Now, I don't use this thing here, right? See this? Right, see this RM330? I don't use it when I'm flying the Mini 3, right? I use this, the RCN1, right, hooked up to my iPhone. That's what I use to fly the Mini 3 with, because it's much better, and I'll come on to that in a bit, right? But all you do is, excuse me, I've got a real itchy nose now. All you have to do is, if it's out of focus, you just tap the screen and bang, whatever you tap on, it focuses on that. So obviously if you're a drone in the air and you tap on a tree or the ground, it will focus on that. So on that wide angle part of the flight, wide angle lens part of the flight, that's what I did. I tapped on the screen when I realised it was out of focus, and it's on the return journey as she's coming back near the start of the return journey. If you watch the video, you'll see it all coming into focus and everything's fine after that. Okay, so I was pretty annoyed with that because I'd made this whole video, and I thought, I'm going to have to go out if I want to fix this and not just reshoot the wide angle part of the flight. I'll have to reshoot the wide angle and the normal lens and the anamorphic lens, because it's a different day, the light conditions are different, the clouds will be different, and it just won't, I mean, the shadows in the ground will be different. And if I'm cutting between the 3 lenses, then it's going to look completely different. And I thought, that's no use. And it took me about 2 hours or 3 hours while I was out there. I thought, I can't go back out and do all of that again. So I'll just put the video up as is and I'll put a wee explanation. In fact, if you haven't seen it, let me play just a tiny little bit of it just now. I'll leave the audio off if I can. I'll turn the audio down and I'll leave my mic on and talk about it. So if you haven't, you've probably seen it, but if you haven't, here's just a tiny wee section of it. Let me see if I can bring this up for you. Right, so where am I? Oh my God, I've lost my cursor. Right, so here we are, and I think this is it should come up and tell you, this is the normal lens, I think, is it? Wait, it should come up in the corner in a little second. Right, that was the normal lens. There's the anamorphic lens. So the normal one was in focus. The anamorphic one is in focus. It's going to cut over now, cut to the wide angle lens in a second. And there's a wee explanation comes up in the top left corner. A kind of apology, if you see at the moment. But everything's in focus. It's a bit bright at the moment, but that's because the sun... So there we go. There's no lens. Right, there's no lens, and it's nicely in focus too. Okay, so the anamorphic was nicely in focus. The no lens is nicely in focus. And it's going to switch over to the wide angle. Look at that, there's the wide angle, right? It's completely out of focus. Totally out of focus. Right? Now, that's horrible. Now I'll try and zoom it forward to the point where it's coming back. Right, it's running about, is it here a wee bit further on maybe? Right, here it is. Right, watch this. This is the wide angle lens. So I realised, oh, that's out of focus. And did you see that there? Let me show you that again. This is where I thought, that's out of focus. And I touched the screen. Watch this. Right, out of focus. I realised it touched the screen and look, bang. It comes into focus. And for the rest of that flight back, it's in focus. Right, now how annoying is that? That's really annoying. And it's even more annoying, and I'll tell you why. Because I was out again today. Let me. That's still running in the sight in the background there. Let me stop that because it's distracting me, and I get distracted easily enough as it is. I don't need things running there to distract me. Right, the reason that's annoying. Right, really annoying. I'm annoyed at myself as well because I went back out yesterday, and I was doing a similar flight. This time I was flying with the anamorphic lens, with no filter on auto settings, and then I was doing the same flight with the anamorphic lens and an ND32 in Pro, right? So that you'd then say, well, what's it like with a filter on? And I did it. Well, when I get back in today into the house, one of them is out of focus. It's the one with no filter is completely out of focus again. So I'm going to have to go back out and reshoot that whole entire thing. Now, it's partly my fault, I suppose, because I should make sure, well, when I took off, I should have then clicked on the screen to make sure it was focusing on the ground, and away I went. But why should I have to do that when in 2 years of flying this wee Valkyrie, I've never had to do that. She's in focus. She knows what to focus on. She's in this thing. I'm flying over a loch, I'll focus on the loch. I'm flying over some ground, I'll focus on the ground. She knows what to do. And she's a Mini too. So you can probably tell how frustrated and bloody annoyed I am at the fact that this won't do it. Now, there's been an update released that fixes that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't fix that at all, because after it happened to me earlier on last week and I was so annoyed about it, I downloaded the latest firmware to make sure all that was fixed and went back out, and it doesn't fix it. You still have to manually, even when you're on autofocus, because I've tested it since then, right? I've been in manual focus and I've been in autofocus, and it doesn't matter. When you're in autofocus, you still have to actually touch the screen on what you want to focus on. So that's an annoying thing about this, right? And that's going to start me off on my high horse about comparing these two drones, and I'm going to start getting to the nitty gritty of what's good about one of them and bad about one of them, and what's good and bad about the other one too, right? But before I do that, I probably should take some more glucose and a calm down pill maybe. But before I do that, I'll have a look at some of your comment posts, but I want also to have a wee look at the poll. I can't see it. What does it say? It says 62% of you fly the Mini 2 as your main drone. And 38% of you fly the Mini 3. Right, and that's good too. I'll bet a lot of you that bought the Mini 3 and then sold your Mini 2 are regretting it a wee bit now, aren't you? And I'll bet you a lot of you that bought the Mini 3 with this thing are regretting it because you should have bought it with this one. And I'll come to more of that in a minute and explain why. And I'm right, I'll explain why. But let's have a wee look at some of your comments, right? Let me zoom down, because you've been commenting quite a lot, right? And there's a lot of orange highlights, so thanks for that. So I'll just click on the ones that everybody's commenting with orange highlights now. Right, oh, there's been lots. I'll try and answer as many as I can. Right, Magiek says, "What time do you usually fly drones? Is there a best time with less birds and chance of crashing a zone?" I think you mean crashing a drone. I go out when it's not howling down with rain, and when the wind isn't blowing the trees almost horizontal. That's when I go out. I have to take the opportunity when I can. I prefer to fly when it's quite bright and sunny. Otherwise, the footage looks dull and a bit boring, and you know it doesn't look very good. So that's when I try to fly, and I don't fly when it starts to get dull or dark. I don't fly in the dark because I'm in the middle of nowhere and there are no lights, so you wouldn't really see anything. Less birds. Pardon me, I don't know. I don't think so. You know, you're going to get birds from early morning to evening, maybe even night time. I don't know. You maybe get bats then. So I don't know. Right. Gerard says, "Have you not been the optician yet as your eyes look diabetic?" Gerard, you're parroting back to me what the doctor and the practitioner nurse told me, and they told me like that with one of those fingers. You get to the optician, you need to go and have your eyes tested, because it's not just your eyesight that they test. They can see your eye and they can tell things like that. So you better go this week. So I'll be making an appointment. It's hard. I live in out in the sticks, and the nearest optician is in the town, which is an hour, three bus journeys, and 2 hours to get there, and the same coming back. And my car's still in the flaming garage. The parts are due now on the 28th. But so it's hard for me to get to the opticians. And Jay gives me her car when she can, but she uses it all the time. But I do need to go to the optician. You're right. Okay, so Paul has a wee on check. What did you say, Paul? Even if I could afford to buy the Mini 3, I still can't justify the cost of the Mini 2 for my needs. That's not just for your needs, Paul, anybody's needs. You're absolutely right. And I'm going to come on to the pros and cons of each. And trust me, there are very, very few pro. In fact, there's only one pro that I can think of with the Mini 3 over the Mini 2. One. But I'll come to that. Right. Surly Dave asks me, will you highlight this message? There's nothing important about it. But because you said that, Windswept Robert, and it was highlighted in orange, yes, I will. And I did. Right, Dave says, I love my Mini 3. Dave, good on you, mate. I don't love my Mini 3. It's a good drone. It's actually got two benefits over the Mini 2 that I'll speak about, but only two. Right? Aye, it's a good drone, but it's not the drone it should be. It's not the Mini 3 it should be. The Mini 3 should be much better than the Mini 2, and it just isn't. I'll come to more of that. I'm sorry if I'm getting a bit narky here, but I'm really annoyed about the fault with this, whatever it is, whether it's a camera fault, whether it's a software fault, whatever, firmware fault, I don't know. But the fault caused me to produce a low quality video, or a video that had low quality parts in it. And I don't like that. It makes me look like I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. But I don't like to look like one if I don't need to. And it makes me look as if I don't know what I'm doing when I'm editing, when I'm putting things together. And I do. And then, because of that fault, it means that I'm going to have to go out and reshoot a whole half a day's worth of footage. Anyway, really annoyed. Right, Magic, you've highlighted it, so did you? The Mini 3 would be the best drone if it had 2 side sensors. Aye, that's what it's missing. Yeah, wait for the mini phone maybe. Yeah, I've been saying that since it was before it was released, since before we even knew what the spec were. I was saying that let's hope the Mini 3 has side sensors. Forget about back and forward sensors, but let's hope it has side sensors. And of course, it doesn't. Right. Oh, Doogie. Doogie's highlighted. It's a comment. Yeah, thanks very much there, Doogie. George, good evening to you. A wee orange highlight there. Right. Henry, you didn't put at Windswept Robert there, but I'll click on you anyway. Henry has said how to improve Mini 2 connectivity problems. I haven't had any connectivity problems, to be honest with you. If you're talking about signal strength and the distance you can fly and keep a good signal strength, Henry, then I do believe, and I don't know for sure, and I couldn't say without incriminating myself, and of course I wouldn't do that. I believe that the FCC hack that you can get from drone-tweaks will allow you to have a much stronger signal with your Mini 2. But I wouldn't fly with FCC mode in the UK because it's not allowed. Right. Oh, I think. Oh no, what's happened? Did everybody see that big glitch there? Everything froze on me. I think this room's too hot. I'm going to open the door and try to let some fresh air in. And I'm going to have to tell my wife that she can't have the heat on at this time of night when I'm streaming. It's too hot in here. And maybe that's what's caused the glitches. So I don't know if anyone else saw that freeze there, but everything froze for a wee minute or two. Right, Henry, I hope that answered your question. You know, I don't know what country you're in. If you're in the UK, you know, you're stuck with, is it CE mode? EC mode, CE mode, I think it's called. I can't remember, but you're stuck flying with that and the signal quality isn't all that great. You can download a tweak which will allow you to then fly in FCC mode, but I believe that is an offence. I don't know. I think it's against the CAA regulations, and therefore it may be actually an offence. I don't know. It's up to you though. I'm not telling you what to do with your drone or how to fly it. Right. Logan just asked which ISP are you with. I've tried them all. At the moment I think I'm with EE at the moment, but I've been with BT, I've been with Sky, I've been with TalkTalk. We don't have Virgin here. I'd like to go with Virgin, but we don't have them. Every possible ISP I've had, and I've never they're all the same speed no matter what they tell you, because from the junction box into the house it's the same cable that comes in, so they're all the same speed. Right, anyway. Right, Graham says, I have a Mini 3 but prefer to learn on the cheaper Mini 2. Not much practice this weekend as rather damp and windy. Aye, well there you go. I assume you have the Mini 2 as well. I don't know if you already put into the poll what your preferred, the main one that you fly with. At the moment we're sitting 64% of you fly the DJI Mini 2. Those of you who have responded to the poll. 64% of you use the Mini 2 as your main, and only 36% use the Mini 3 as your main, right? I use both, possibly equally at the moment. But that's different. That's because I like to give you the comparisons and show you things about the two drones. And I think it's important that people like me who have a YouTube channel and it's based on drones can do that for you, especially if you're thinking, that's £1,000 if you want the Fly More pack, 1,200 or something. I don't know, I can't remember. Do I really want to pay for that? I don't know. Well, I can show you the differences. Oh, and let me just sidetrack for a little bit. No, I won't. I'll leave what I was going to say there for another live stream, because it's after 30:30 and I haven't even got to the comparison. So let me get to that now then, right? I'm sorry if I haven't answered all your comments, right? Oh, Gary, I'll just answer yours. You were the last person to put an orange thingy up. And you said, would you need a spotter when using DroneMask? I'm going to come to that in a second. VLOS requirement. I'm not a drone police and my views on VLOS are very similar to yours. Keep up the good and informative work. Okay, Gary, I get what you're saying. And I'll come to that. I'm going to be talking about this thing in a minute. Well, not in a minute, but before the end of the stream, I will be talking about it. There's Gimbalier answered you, I think, there, Gary. He has said, yes, as per CAP 1789A, Gimbalair, you sound a wee bit officious there, right? Okay. We're a wee bit looser with... we're not looser in flying the regulations, but we're maybe a bit looser with the interpretation of them. But there you go. You can look up Cap 17898, Gary, if you want the official word from the CAA, right? Anyway, so let me leave your comments for a minute, and I'm sorry for if you've said, well, I put down that Windswept Robert and he's just not ignoring me. But tempus fugit, you know what I mean? Time is passing quite quickly. And I wanted to speak tonight about the topic, which is past, and we're just getting to the topic now, which is, let me get rid of Gimbalair's wee comment there, which is the differences, the good, what was the topic? Mini 2 versus Mini 3, right? Okay. It's 2 years this month, right? 2 years this month, November, 2 years ago, that I bought Lassie. She wasn't Lassie at the time. She got her name a few weeks later, right? She actually had a different name, and I'm not going to tell you what it was. But I got my DJI Mini 2 2 years ago this month, and then a few weeks later, or a few months later, maybe even, she got her name. Because I didn't I started my YouTube channel 2 years ago this month, but I didn't actually start posting videos to it until March, so it was like a few months later. So I'm very familiar with everything this can do, probably at least as familiar as anyone on the planet with, and probably a lot more knowledgeable about what this is capable of doing and the limitations of this drone than anyone else in the world. And I make that claim without trying to sound or thinking myself as being, I'm a great expert in the world. It's just that I've tested everything on this drone. I mean, I've taken this drone to its limits and way beyond, and you'll know, if you've been following this channel, you'll know I've done that. So I know what this drone is capable of, and I know where it doesn't fail, but I know the limitation. I know its limitations, okay? Better than most people in the world, and I would say I'm one of the leading experts on, if not the leading expert, on what this drone is capable of doing, right? Okay. Now, I don't have the same level of expertise with this drone because I've only had this drone a few months, but I've put it through quite a lot of tests as well, so I am pretty knowledgeable about what it can do and the limitations. So I feel that I'm in a good place to talk about the difference between these two and why one is better than the other. And I think my words carry a bit of weight because of that experience in testing everything that you can test. And if there's a test that I haven't carried out that you would like me to carry out, let me know and I'll do it. But I've tested everything. I mean, I've put fishing weights on this until she couldn't take off, and our motors were. I mean, and I've flown her in the snow. I've flown her in gales. I've flown her 5 inches above the sea line. I mean, this wee drone, I've tested her everywhere. Anyway, enough about that. So, I'm going to tell you what I think right now. I think out of these two, and I don't think this will come as any surprise to you, I think that the Mini 2 is the better drone by far, right? And the reason I can say that is that as far as I am concerned, there are only 2 things that this drone can do better than this drone. Only 2 out of all of the things that this drone can do. Out of all of the things both of the drones can do. And this is a fantastic drone, don't get me wrong. The Mini 3 is a fantastic drone. One of the best drones you can get. Better than an Air 2S, better than a Mavic 3, because of the price, obviously. So it's a fantastic drone, but this is a better drone. Because the only 2 things, and you can stick in your comments to tell me if you think there's more, and I'll read them, and then ignore them, and I'll read them and take on board what you say. But the only 2 things that are better about this drone than the Mini 2 are, first of all, the battery, right? You get more, this is a double-edged sword, right? You get more flight time out of this one because the battery lasts longer, all right? And the second thing that's better about this is that it has obstacle avoidance, okay? This wee drone does not have obstacle avoidance. This one does. That makes this one better in regards to that. This battery lasts, and I've tested. I think it was about 6 minutes longer. That was it. I think the flight got. I get 6 minutes more out of this one than I did with this one, right? So the battery lasts longer. But here's the other side of the coin, or the other edge of the sword, if you like. I don't really know. I'm probably mixing my metaphors there a bit. But the other side of that coin with this one is that although the battery lasts longer, the signal strength of this one, which is the one that DJI would prefer you to buy and the one that most people get with it, is much, much weaker. This connection is much weaker than this connection. And it's much weaker than this connection. This connection's better than this one. Than this one, right? But this one's not as good as this one, right? I hope you followed all of that, right? So even though the battery life, you might get more flight time out of it, that's okay if you're just flying round about and you're staying within a strong signal, as you're supposed to, with like the CAA tell you, right? But if you're one of these people, one of these bad people who fly for quite a distance away, further than you should, and the signal strength then becomes a factor in which one of these is better. This one, the DJI Mini 3, the signal becomes unusable. It drops down to red and then gone long before this one, right? And long before the battery length is, you've reached the battery length. So you can fly further, I believe. So I have been told. I've never done it myself. You can fly much further with this one, right? And you can fly in built-up areas with a better signal strength in the Mini 2 than you can with the Mini 3. Now, you may have found that not to be true, but I'm telling you, I've tested it multiple times in the exact same situation. I've taken direct comparisons and tested things under the exact same conditions multiple times, and I'm telling you, what I say is true. And if you've flown one of those ones, say, oh no, I get a great signal strength with my Mini 3. That one time maybe you did. But trust me, okay? So there's that, right? And I'm probably not going to get to a lot more comments because I've got 20 minutes and I've got quite a few things I want to say, right? So the next thing is, obstacle avoidance. Obstacle avoidance, that's absolutely fantastic. You can, and it's got active track. So it's got active track and obstacle avoidance. You can get it to follow you about and blah, 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 blah. Okay. This one doesn't have obstacle avoidance, but it's got active track, not built in, but if you use Litchi on Maven, it's got active track, and you'll have seen my videos where I use active track with Maven, and it's fantastic. As good as this, right? As good as the built-in active track with this. If you use Maven and an iPhone with this, you'll get active track just as good. Now, you might not have obstacle avoidance, but if you fly this in parallel mode, right, which is flying, is flying sideways, tracking you as you're walking, you don't have obstacle avoidance because, as who was it that pointed it out earlier? Was it Paul? You have no side sensors, right? Same as you don't have any here. So this one is no better at auto-tracking you in parallel mode than this one. And this one is as good tracking you in trace mode as this one because you're walking in the same direction that the drone is flying, so you can see if there's any obstacles, right? You wouldn't let it fly into an obstacle you can see, so the obstacle avoidance doesn't come into it there. So there you go. So that whole obstacle avoidance and auto tracking is completely negated by the abilities of this if you use Maven as a third party, or Litchi if you want to, but I don't. I use Maven and I prefer it. Right. So therefore, so the second advantage that the Mini 3 has over the Mini 2, which is active track, has now been completely negated. So therefore, the only advantage that this Mini 3 has over this Mini 2 is the battery length. And that's negated because the signal strength isn't as good. is this one. So the battery length is irrelevant. So we've just negated the two benefits that this one have over this one. So now having negated the benefits of the Mini 3 over the Mini 2, they're now both equal, right? And I'm now going to tell you why this one is much better than this one, right? And the first thing is, it focuses without you having to tap on the screen, right? When you fly this, it'll be crystal clear, focused. You don't have to worry about it. You send it up and you fly, and you know the footage that you're going to get is going to be in focus and crystal clear. Well, this one, if you forget, because you're an old fuddy-duddy like me, who's suffering long COVID and can't remember his own name, and you forget to tap that screen, you're going to end up with an out-of-focus bit of footage that you can only use if you want to look as if you don't know what you're doing, which is what I had to do. Or you're going to have to go back out again and... I've been over that enough, haven't I? Right, so there you go. So there's one way it's better. Here's another way it's better. I've compared the normal footage, 4K footage, is that true? Aye, 4K and 1080 footage that you get out of both of these drones flying with no filters on auto mode. And I can tell you right now that the Mini 3 footage is slightly oversaturated. The greens are a bit too camberwick green. It looks a little bit cartoony, and it's just, I always have to pull the saturation down a little bit in post when I'm editing with the Mini 3. The Mini 2 produces absolutely real world authentic footage that I forget the word, mimics the, that's not the right word, but I'll use it because it's the only one I can think of at the moment because of my stupid brain. It mimics, or it recreates, that's the word. It recreates, I think that's the word, the actual landscape and the colours that you're seeing without having to colour correct. It'll do it. It does it. I've been doing it for 2 years. This one won't, right? So that's another advantage. The biggest advantage I've already mentioned, but it's the signal strength with this one. The signal strength is just far superior to this. Far superior. Now, let me come on to it. Okay, so there we go. Now, there are more advantages that the Mini 3 has over the Mini 2. Right? The Mini 2 has over the Mini 3. I won't go into all of them at the moment because I can't think of them. But it's things like peace of mind, reliability, no having to worry about anything, sending her up and knowing that you're going to get back the footage that you want out of her. Okay? Excuse me, my nose is itching. Oh, here's one thing. Sorry, another thing has come to mind that has just reminded me that the Mini 3 does slightly better. Whenever I've tried to do a parallax, and I'm pretty good at it after having been doing it for 2 years, whenever I do a parallax around anything like an object, a statue or a tower or a chimney, I'm pretty smooth and pretty good with this one, better than the quick shots. But this one just seems to make a smoother and better job of it. Oh, and the other thing I forgot about is the gimbal in this one can go up quite high, so it means that you can fly low and have the thing pointing up a bit. That's quite a good feature that this one doesn't have, right? So there are a few advantages, a few more than I first thought of. Certainly not enough, in my opinion, to make you decide to sell this one or get rid of it just to replace it with this one. Don't do that. If you want to get a Mini 3, get a Mini 3, right? It's a fantastic drone, get it. Don't replace this one, keep it, because you'll find after flying this one a few times and you bring this one back out that this one just, is the better drone, right? If you don't have a drone, you're thinking about buying one for the first time, I don't know, I used to be of the opinion that get the Mini 3, I don't know now, I think get the Mini 2, right? It's a lot cheaper and it's just better. Okay, anyway, I know I've been wittering on for a while now, and I'm not going to look at all your comments now. I'm sorry. I will do a follow-up tomorrow answering any question that have been asked. So I feel okay about skipping past the comments now because I will get to them, and I'll do a video, same as I did last Monday, which was a video answering any questions that I failed to answer tonight. So watch out for that one coming out. I'll try and get it done tomorrow. If I can't get tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday. Right. So before I skip on to this thing here, let me talk briefly about if you are thinking about buying or you're going to buy a Mini 3, right? Your options are you'll be able to buy this or you'll be able to buy this. Now, I don't like this. You'll probably know that. I've made a lot of videos about this and I don't like it, right? I don't like it for quite a few reasons. I won't go into all of them, but some of the things are that when you're flying with the sticks, look at the screen, right? The screen's partially covered by your fingers. I don't like that. That's rubbish, right? Second thing is that the screen's not as bright as an iPhone 13 or an iPhone 14. It's just not, right? And what's the other thing I don't like about it? Oh, that's it. They're the only things I don't like about it. It's handy that it's got a zoom wheel and a gimbal scroll wheel separately. That's quite handy. And it's got these two buttons, which I never use anyway. I haven't assigned them and I don't use them. They kind of get in the way and you could accidentally click something, right? The reason that this one's better is because the signal strength is better on it, right? That's the signal strength in this one's rubbish, right? It's really bad. Oh, and the other thing that's bad about this is that if you have an SD card in here, right, and you're recording the telemetry, it's in very low resolution, right? It used to be 480. I don't even know if it's up to 720 or not now, but the screen recording is very low. On this one, your screen recording, it will be dependent on the phone you're using, so it can be very, very good, really excellent quality. So that's better. The signal strength is better. The antenna apparently are in here, right? And very, very strong. And the other thing, and the best thing about this, well, there's two best things. I'll tell you about the first and then I'll move on to the second, which will allow me to segue into this. One of the best things about this is that you can use your phone with it, right? And that then allows you to, if you wanted to, I have been told, I've never tried it so I don't know, but if you wanted to use Drone-Tweak's FCC hack, you could use it with the Mini 3, right, using this controller, which will get you a much better signal, right? You can't do it with this one, right? You cannot use it with this one, right? So that's the one and it's cheaper. I think it's about, I don't know, $200, $160 cheaper to get that combo. You know, the Mini 3 and this than the Mini 3 and that, right? Save your money. Don't be blinded. Wait, oh, the screen, it's got a screen, no, it's all built in and I don't have to put a phone on. It takes me about 10 seconds to attach my phone, right? I don't have to attach a phone and it's got a great screen. No, don't get swayed by that, right? The screen's rubbish and attaching a phone only takes 10 seconds and it's a much better signal. The signal strength is really, really important, right? Okay, so and the other thing that's really good about using this, right, is that if you want to use, if it's a bright day and the screen's like, oh my God, I can hardly see that because the sun's so bright, or it's just such a bright day and I can hardly see that and it's up to full resolution, what am I going to do? With this one, you can take the phone off of here and put it in to DroneMask, right? You can put it in DroneMask and fly your Mini 2 or your Mini 3 and it will be crystal clear. You won't have any problems with seeing the screen. It won't heat up. It's shaded, right? And it will give you almost an FPV experience, especially if you flick into FPV mode and you're banking and doing all that kind of thing and you're in sport mode and you're really going fast. It will give you almost an FPV feel about it, right? So that, trust me, this is the one to get. I wish there was a way of me saying, come along and see me, meet me, if you're thinking about getting a Mini 3, and I'll let you fly my Mini 3 using both of these, and you can then see which one you want to get, right? And I'm thinking about putting a wee business together where I'm going to allow people to do that for a small fee, right? I can go and meet people and let them try before you buy, something like that. I don't have a drone, it's dead expensive. Do I really want to get one? Why don't you try before you buy? I'll give you a little hour session flying about and you can pay me a wee fee for that and see if you like it. I'm thinking about making a business like that. Right, okay, so anyway, 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes to go and we're now talking about this thing here, right? And the reason I want to talk about this is because As you know, if you've watched my videos, and I've got 81 people in, so I'm assuming a few of you have watched my videos. I made a wee review recently of DroneMask Mark II. This is DroneMask 2, right? The second version, which is different from the black one, which I've got kicking about somewhere. I don't know where it is. Where is it? Oh, I don't know. Right, I've got the black one kicking about, which is the version 1. I've got a few videos up on that. Well, DroneMask, the last time I did the review on the first DroneMask, I asked for a second one. I said, go on and give me a second one so I can do a giveaway for my viewers, my subscribers and things like that. And they did. They gave me a second one, right? This time they didn't. I asked them and they just kind of ignored it. But they sent me out this one, right? So I got this for free. They didn't pay me to make the video. They never pay me to make any of the videos, and that's fine. It means I can give my true opinion without having to worry about having been paid to say the good thing. I'm free to say what I like. However, they only gave me this one, right? And so I now have two. I've got my old DroneMask and I have this one. Now it's only been out of the box once, just so that I could actually do the review. And it comes with, it came with, that's just in. It comes with a cable to connect to the phone and the controller, and it comes with a wee adapter for if you're using an Android phone. It comes with an Apple cable, an Apple type cable. Well, I've decided I'm going to give this away, right? Because I've got my old one and I'll keep that, and so I'm going to give this one away. Because I can't wear two at the same time, and I'm not going to give away the older one that I've been wearing. I've only had this on once just to review it, right? Apart from that, it's brand new. So I'm going to give it away, but this time I'm not going to do a giveaway to all viewers or all subscribers. This giveaway is only for members, right? Members of the channel. Now, I think at last count there's about 20 or 25 members of the channel. I'm not quite sure, but this giveaway is going to be given randomly to one of the members. I'll do the same random procedure. I'll maybe pull names out of a hat or something, and I'll do it live on there, so there's no jiggery pokery going on. It's going to one of the members, and you're thinking, oh, I'm not a member, oh, I'm not going to get it. Well, here's the thing, right? The minimum membership to join this channel, I think, is either £2 or £3 or something like that for a full month. That's all it is. So I'm going to be making doing this giveaway within the next 2 weeks, certainly within the next month, right? So if you want to join the channel for 1 month for like £2 or whatever it is, you'll be in the draw, right? So you'll be in the draw for this with a chance of getting it, and then you can unjoin the channel, so you're not paying £2 every month. You've only paid it once, and that's it. So if you want a chance on this, all the members that are already in the channel they're already going to be in the draw, and anyone who wants to join before I do the draw will be eligible to get this DroneMask. Now, I think it's about 160, 170 quid or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Whoever wins it, I'll post it to you. It's going to cost me, I don't know, a £5 or a £10 or something to post it, but I don't mind. I'll post it out to you, to the winner, as I always do, whoever it is that wins it. So there will not be any cost to you whatsoever. You'll get it, and you'll get the cable, and you'll get the adapter, and you'll get the lovely wee bag, and you'll get the box, you'll get everything like that for free. All you have to do is be a member, and you'll join it, right? We've got 4 minutes left. Right, is that okay? Is everybody happy with that? I hope I haven't pissed off my members that I've got to by saying, oh, we're going to get an influx of members who just want to win that. I'm doing some self-promotion, trying to get more members into the channel. But the reason I'm not putting out to all the subscribers is because I want the people who are members who have said, I'm going to go that extra mile. Yeah, I want to do something. And also, it's a lovely thing to give away. I think it's a really handy thing. Anyway, we've got 3 minutes left. Before I go, I want to read out some of the trolling comments that I've had this week. So let me have a wee look at that. I'll try and put them up on the screen. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. I hope I can. I'll try my best. To put these up on the screen. Wait till I see if I can get rid of that. Right, I'll try and put them up on the screen now, and I'll read out some of the trolling comments. I've been collecting a few of them. They're not as good this week as they were before. I think people, maybe some trolls, saw me doing this last week and thought, oh, and they haven't been doing it. But a few people did, so I'll see if I can put some up. Right, here we go. How do I get rid of that? Right, so here's one from Asim Hussein, who says, Windswept Robert, lol, you fella are a fanny that crashes his drone. Hashtag incompetent drone pilot. Thank you, Asim. Right, Can See says, what are you babbling about, old man? Can See, if you can tell me what I'm babbling about, please let me know, because I haven't a clue. I think this is Curus. Is it Curus? Curls says, no wonder there's not enough police in the streets when they're dealing with idiots like you. What a hero. I think he's talking about when the police came to my door, right? David Everett says, break the rules and crash. Imagine the cost if it damaged the power lines. Although I bet no ID on the drone anyway, so you could run away. Wrong on all counts. A wee plastic drone cannot damage power lines, and aye, there is ID on top of it. And finally, I'd run away from nothing. Face it, I'm a man, I don't run away with things. Kevin Short and Rich B. Why have we got the two of them there? I don't know. Anyway, Kevin Short says, VLOS didn't cause that. That was the crash. It was yourself that caused that, and it was reckless, to be honest. And then Rich B says, aye, shite flying again. Malcolm's been really, really busy. He's a star. Malcolm says, Windswept Robert, you hit a power line, idiot. If you couldn't even see the pylons, for goodness sake, you aren't fit to be controlling a drone. Not having said enough to me, Malcolm goes on to say, Windswept Robert, you were flying away for quite a while, far longer than it would take to lose sight of a drone that size. If you couldn't even see the pylons and work out that maybe there'd be cables between them, you're either stupid, have extra bad eyesight, or were so far away that you couldn't even make out the pylons. Thank you, Malcolm, but he didn't stop there. Malcolm was on a roll. Actually, he says, you're wrong. Just because you're an immature kid, oh, thanks very much, Malcolm, immature kid, I'm 60-year-old, right? Just because you're an immature kid without any judgment skills doesn't mean other drone flyers are the same. People like you will help push the CAA, do you know who they are? Into creating more strict rules that ruin the hobby for all of us, including you. And I thought, right, surely that's Malcolm got it out of his system. No, he had to have another go. I wouldn't expect insurance would pay when he's flying illegally. And then he called it a day, but we finished off. Michael sent me in this one. Having read all the pathetic responses this dickhead has made, my personal opinion is that the drone tried to commit suicide because it was fed up being owned by a fuckwit walking cabbage. Fantastic, Michael. Thanks very much for that one. I really appreciate it. I've run over by 20 seconds. Thanks very much for coming along, everyone, and I'll see you next week.